with that, we have to be very careful about the shadow part of new STIs. Yes. Thank you very much. So we got very thoughtful comments from 4 panelists. Now we're going to turn over to the intervention of 3 VIPs. May I ask the permanent representative of Kenya, Ambassador Amelia, to give us your thought and question. If you have a question, please make clear to whom you are asking, if possible. Then, Ambassador Amelia, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nakamura, the chairperson, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. May I take this opportunity to thank you, Chair, and the distinguished panelists for your insightful remarks and contributions. Kenya, as a former co-chair of the STI Forum, is honored to partner with Ghana, Rwanda, Israel, Estonia, Barbados, Mexico, Japan, Singapore, and Czech Republic in this virtual side event aimed at exploring ways in which we can harness science, technology, and innovation as we grapple with the novel coronavirus. Following the postponement of the ECOSOC STI Forum, this meeting could have not come at a better time, as the current outbreak has sparked a health crisis that has led to scientific and technological communities putting their full weight behind finding solutions. One of these solutions is the use of digital platforms to host virtual meetings, which have allowed us to continue with the crucial work we do here at the UN. Excellencies, science, technology, and innovation is instrumental to the fulfillment of the 2030 Agenda and its 17 SDGs. At the international level, the COVID-19 pandemic has demonstrated the importance of multilateralism in tackling new and complex issues which necessitate strong global cooperation. As emphasized by Ambassador Katalin Boge at yesterday's morning session, science diplomacy is becoming increasingly important to the success of modern-day multilateralism. As we gear up to the decade of action and delivery, we can use the current crisis, which undoubtedly relies on STI-based solutions, as a basis for strengthening global, regional, and national capacities in STI. Through increased investment, capacity building, knowledge, and data sharing, as well as the transfer of technology, we can strengthen the role of STI across the critical sectors of society. Even so, Mr. Chairman, despite significant global processes in the area of STI, we must recognize the challenge of all those left behind due to the ever-increasing global digital divide. As mentioned yesterday by Ambassador Valentine and even reiterated by Ambassador Gafur of Singapore, the digital world is becoming the mainstream as opposed to the alternative. While some in the world are fortunate to have some semblance of normalcy during this COVID-19 pandemic due to technology, we know the devastating effect this virus is taking and will continue to take on some developing countries. Moreover, it has been found that women, more specifically, are disproportionately affected by the digital divide. Mr. Chairman, the current pandemic has made it clear that as we address the SDGs going forward, we should further emphasize the critical role of STI across all goals while ensuring we are closing the existing digital divide in the areas we are targeting. If the global community does not come together to strengthen the STI capacity of developing countries in health, livelihoods, education, and public service delivery, we may see a reverse in the tremendous progress already made on national development priorities and the SDGs. It is for these reasons that it is necessary for governments to create incentives, provide funding and support for research and innovation with an aim to mainstream application of science, technology, and innovation in realizing the SDGs. As I move to conclude, I'm pleased to inform you that Ajira Digital, which is an initiative that the Kenya government through the Ministry of ICT is using to empower our 1 million young people to access digital job opportunities, is up and going. Similarly, Kenya has mastered the art of mobile banking by using mobile phone technology, which has increased financial inclusion tremendously. Kenya's leading mobile service provider, Safaricom, revolutionized banking in Kenya when they introduced M-Pesa, which is a mobile money transfer service, which has drastically offered consumers a plethora of financial services, thereby contributing significantly to our development. Last but not least, as I conclude, we must draw on these realities and begin to focus on implementing STI solutions, which will allow us to rebuild better and shift the stumbling blocks presented by the coronavirus crisis to commence a clean slate for development and re-energize our efforts towards the SDGs, especially for our economies, health, and education sectors, which have already been severely affected. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ambassador Mayor. May I ask you, when you speak, please turn on your camera. So let's ask Deputy Permanent Representative of Japan, Ambassador Hoshino. So floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. It gives me great pleasure to join you today as co-organizer. And thank you, Israel and Ghana, for your great initiative. And Dr. Trekian, great to see you over the screen. Thank you for your support. And thank you, Dr. Nakamura and the distinguished panelists for stimulating inputs and insights. In this time of global human security crisis, STI demonstrates its power to enhance the resilience of our society, allowing us to maintain social services and business continuity while reducing the spread of the coronavirus. And we are convinced that the role of STI will be far more critical than any other time to recover better in the post-COVID-19 world. So scaling up STI-based solutions to SDGs and STI international cooperation are the indispensable way to go forward for us. So Japan joined with others at the United Nations to put together a joint guidebook of STI roadmap for SDGs, which Dr. Nakamura mentioned at the opening remarks. Thank you, Dr. Nakamura and the other 10 members for your intellectual contribution. STI itself is a means of implementation. So how we define the role of STI and deploy it matters for the sustainable and inclusive development of the world. To that end, the government of Japan has introduced the concept of Society 5.0. Never heard about it? Don't worry, I will explain to you. And it is to inspire the world what the STI-based and human-centered solution would look like. Here is a 1 minute quick overview of the concept of the Society 5.0, and I hope we can show you the video.
The fourth industrial revolution will enable us to create a new society. Society 5.0, a technology-based, human-centered society. With autonomous driving, we will be freed from the stress of driving and have access to safe and comfortable mobility. New Biomedical and communication technology will allow patients to receive cutting-edge medical services at low cost, anywhere, anytime. A variety of advanced technology will enhance human ability and expand our infinite possibilities, helping us enjoy more fulfilling lives. Towards Society 5.0, Japan will keep moving forward.
Thank you for watching. And this is our strategic plan to achieve the SDGs with STI solution, driving economic growth and social inclusion, empowering individuals so that everyone can participate in economic activities to create value anytime, anywhere. And it is the realization of the digital transformation where technologies such as big data, IoT, AI, and robotics are integrated into every industry and across social activities. Society 5.0 also targets to overcome social challenges such as population issues, regional reinvigoration, aging, and growing expenditure on social security by reversing these disadvantages into opportunities to accelerate the achievement of SDGs and a resilient society. Although the image of 5.0 you just saw may imply something of a science fiction world, we hope to introduce it to many other countries by sharing STI-based solution to common challenges in the best interest of people and achievement of the SDGs. Let me assure you that in conclusion that Japan recommits to the fight against COVID-19. On top of our ideas and science and technology prowess, we contribute financially too. Our newly pledged COVID-19 assistance package will amount to $1.54 billion in grants on top of $136 million already disbursed. It aims to strengthen health and medical capabilities of countries in need, provide medical equipment, contribute to the development of vaccines and medicines, along with other science-based innovative solutions and measures to safeguard economic activities. So let's work together. And thank you very much, Dr. Nakamura, for the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Hoshino. So the next is a representative from SOSA, Mr. Guy Franklin. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair. It's a pleasure being here with all of you today, although it's not in person. I'm actually Uzi Sheffer. I'm the CEO of SOSA. I was able to join the session today, so I'm happy to be here. SOSA is a global open innovation company. Our job is to help large organizations implement technologies that prepare them to the future. What does that mean exactly? It means that our teams work with countries, cities, and large corporates to source technologies that are essential for the digital transformation. And I believe we've heard about this very important process from many angles today. We are an Israeli company with innovation centers in Tel Aviv, in New York, and we've just launched London at the beginning of this year. So what are we seeing in the technology space in terms of preparing for the aftermath? I will try just in 2 minutes, I will try to give you a sense on that and also some insights from our perspective. The obvious segments that have seen significant increase in demand obviously are digital health, everything remote, and as a result, cybersecurity, but also regulatory matters like our speakers have mentioned earlier. We are seeing an acceleration of the digital health revolution with advanced solutions, like for example, the one of Bina.ai, an Israeli company that monitors vital signs through video that is now being installed in hospitals in the city of Montreal. Just one example that allows the efficient measuring of vital signs with no physical contact required. But other technological solutions have also seen a spike in demand. About a month into the crisis, around the beginning of April, in most countries, market leaders started looking into consumer behavior analytics solutions. This may sound a little less relevant, right, than digital health for such a medical crisis, right? But when you think about it, once lockdowns are removed, the biggest challenge will be how to put the economy back on track. So companies need to understand the changing behavior and changing needs of their customers and consumers, and they do that by implementing technologies. We held a demo day around that on April 2nd with corporates from all over the world who learned about solutions in this field. So I strongly agree also with the multidisciplinary need and approach that was mentioned earlier. Larger industry players such as manufacturers are looking into solutions that will help them build resilience, but also depend less on global supply chain. They're basically looking on how to return assets or some of the assets to the continent following the current situation. On the entrepreneurial side, it's clear that these are very challenging times for startups and for small companies as well, but the entrepreneurial spirit does not end here. We've seen ultra-fast pivots of existing technologies into COVID-related use cases. Just a couple of examples, Stratasys, a 3D printing company, is from the task force in mid-March to pivot their printers to manufacture essential medical equipment, PPE, and other equipment. Roboticam, another Israeli company from a different domain, has pivoted its product to allow medical staff to communicate remotely with patients. But also a large company have pivoted manufacturing lines in the States and all over the world to produce PPE and other essential products. So as we hopefully approach the new normal, everything contactless is becoming key in banking, in manufacturing, transportation, and more. Hence, the need for technologies is only increasing, and they are the key for a quick return to normal, but also for building resilience if such situations occur again. So thank you again for having me and for this very important conference. And I look forward to working with you on your needs that we can hopefully solve through technology and innovation. Thank you, Chair.
We don't have enough time to make a response to questions from the audience, but how many minutes I have? Oh, only 5 minutes. So let me ask 4 panelists again for the final remarks within 1 minute, responding to other panelists' statements and also the interventions from VIPs. So may I ask Amanda first, please? Less than 1 minute.
Yeah, thank you. I think one point that our colleague from Kenya made that I thought was really important were the incentives that governments create for greater investment in innovation and new technologies to respond to priorities and needs. A lot of times we think of just subsidies straight out the front for some of these activities. But another very powerful way that governments can create incentives for innovation is to agree to buy certain kinds of products or targeted products that are designed with both effectiveness and affordability considered. I think that's true for a COVID-19 vaccine, therapeutic diagnostics, and it's also true for EdTech, among others. And I think we should think more about those pull incentives for innovation and technology in the next phase, and hopefully it's part of Society 5.0 too, because it will get us to a place where we have the technology that is most useful for high priority areas. And then just a final comment that there is a kind of anti-science, anti-vaccination, anti-evidence movement that is gaining traction and that ironically uses technology as a platform to propagate. We need to combat that. It requires its own advocacy, and that's another big agenda for the future. Thanks.
Many thanks. So Amelia, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think there's been a lot of very exciting discussion today on the use of science, technology, and innovation in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. And I think it's imperative that when we're looking for these examples for solutions or guidance or engagement in this topic, that we ensure that youth always have a platform and are included in the discussion. There are incredible examples today of youth who are making great strides and innovating really in response to the current pandemic. And in many cases, they're the ones who are able to decrease digital divides. They're creating very locally relevant context-specific solutions to a lot of the problems we've discussed today. So, you know, as much as we take from other sources, we also need to be taking lessons from youth initiatives and organizations and how they're innovating inclusively and sustainably, sorry. So we're ensuring that we're engaging communities and that we can eventually build back better when we're coming out of this situation.
Thank you. And Nanjira, you have the floor, please.
Sure, thank you. Real quickly, is just to emphasize again that technology does provide us with powerful tools, but not every solution is technological. It will do us well to remember that, and I think this pandemic is helping us and is re-emphasizing that. We absolutely have to keep investing in the enabling factors that will allow for society 5.0 to happen. It needs still the 1.0 to 4.0 parts, which also entail a lot of human capital investment. So let's not forget about that as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then Robert, you have the floor, please.
Thank you. Yes, I think we've seen a strong affirmation of the utility of science, technology, and innovation. I think the words of the permanent representative of Kenya struck me because in terms of countries that have actually made a stronger investment in systems like mobile money and making technologies available, we actually are seeing differential human impacts in those places. So we can see some evidence of that. So that also means that we need to work harder to support those who don't have those systems in place. The other thing is that Ambassador Hoshino laid out a very nice framework of how humans or society and economics actually fit together, technology with humans. And this is what we really need to strive for as we go forward. The UNDP has been designated as the technical lead for socioeconomic recovery from COVID. And we have to remember it's social and economics there. And working in partnership with the government of Japan and many others who are strong supporters of this, we look forward to really working together on that effort in the long term as well.
Thank you. Excellent. I'd like to thank all the panelists who have given us deep insights and the VIPs for their inspiring interventions.